What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys. Well, I wanted to talk about the hopefully upcoming at some point, I don't know where it is, but the Riftwatchers for DEC proposal. I know more than likely it is going to be Riftwatchers for DEC, and that DEC goes to the DAO rather than that DEC getting burned. So the thing is, no matter what it is, I want to present the argument for why I think the DEC being burned is totally acceptable and actually has better long-term implications for the economy. Now, the thing is, whatever happens with Riftwatchers, if we push it for DEC, I'm probably going to vote for it just because I want to see that happen. But, you know, if we look forward to any other mini sets and how these should be viewed, again, not promo mini sets, because those will probably be considered revenue for the team and their partners, but any kind of mini sets between like Rebellion and whatever the next core set is, I do believe that we should probably be burning the DEC in order to push that value then over to SPS. Now, the reason for this is because the DAO is getting a lot of money, we'll just put it. The DAO is getting a lot of value, and I wanted to show you this. We have the SPS white paper open here, and you can see that the DAO is going to be issued 300 million tokens over 65 months, right? So it's roughly like 4.6 million tokens per month. Obviously, we've been on this schedule already. It's received a lot, but it's also received some from the the node licenses as well as the Riftwatcher sale up to this point, right? So that's kind of where the DAO is at. But over time, over these 5.5 years, it will receive 300 million SPS tokens, which at this point in time doesn't have much value because SPS is like 2.5 cents. But the idea is, right, we want SPS to go to the moon. Team wants SPS to go to the moon, right? We want SPS to have as much value as possible. And by burning the DEC and then creating that scarcity in DEC so that people burn SPS for DEC, that will push the price up over time. So one of the main arguments against burning DEC is people want to see value going to the DAO. They want the DAO to have this big war chest, but the precedent isn't really there for mini sets. When you look back at Orbs, when you look back at Dice, those were DEC burning events in order to regulate the price of DEC, right? If there was too much DEC being printed, for the longest time, we were below peg. And again, this was the old method of how DEC, the monetary policy for DEC, where it wasn't based on the release schedule we have now. Obviously, we're giving SPS out as rewards, but back then it was we were giving out DEC as rewards. It was based on what the price of DEC was. It was kind of like an algorithmic stablecoin, which they ultimately changed in the middle of 2022. So looking back at that, right, there wasn't really a precedent for that, but it was being used as a way to regulate the economy and bring value back to DEC. The team was creating these mini sets, Orbs and Dice. They were not taking any profit from that, and the DEC was getting burned, not to support SPS because SPS didn't exist then, but it was getting burned to support DEC and create, manageable DEC sinks over time. Because other than that, I think it was just potions and guilds. So DEC, or those mini sets, were a major sink for DEC to remove them from circulation. And the thing is, if you look back historically, DEC was still well below peg for a lot of that time, right? So it wasn't even a significant amount of DEC, or sorry, it wasn't even a significant amount of a sink, but ultimately the game was in a much different place. There was probably just a couple hundred, couple thousand of real players at that time. So when we look at this in the future, I do believe that these should be massive DEC burning events, right? Had Riftwatchers for DEC been there from the start, and we had all 3 million packs available for 5,000 DEC to burn, I mean, that would have been 15 billion DEC that we would have eaten through, which is like 3 times the current circulating supply, at least of what we're aware of. So when we think about the future, it's just like, oh, well, I want all of that DEC to get burned for all these cool cards that are going to be coming into the mix, because then that value gets driven to SPS. People start buying and burning SPS. SPS becomes scarcer and is still needed with some direct utility around the game. So coming back to the argument about the DAO and giving value to the DAO, there's two ways to look at it, right? The DAO is going to get 300 million tokens over time. And if you can get SPS to go from 2.5 cents to $1 to $10, right? Let's get crazy here. If you can really drive that kind of value through the burning of DEC and therefore the burning of SPS, that's a ton of value. That's a ton of money for the DAO over time. So at the end of the day, the DAO has money and revenue coming into it. And that one of the previous videos that I did was changing, or the pre-proposal to give a piece of the market fee to the DAO, right? So there's ways in which the DAO can earn that we don't need to worry about doing these mini sets that the DAO gets funded. And again, I was all for that before, and I'm not even against it now. I'm just saying that I think ultimately we want massive DEC sinks. Land is going to be a massive DEC sink, but when you think about it, it's really just a one-time thing. Sure, are they going to have more DEC sinks in the future if, with land phase 2, 3, land phase 4, 5, whatever? Yeah, I'm sure they're going to continue to add things. Same with guilds, right? As they add more and develop guilds, there'll probably be more buildings, more ways in which, they can put these DEC burning events. But when it comes to the mini sets, I do think that since that value is not going to the team, it doesn't necessarily need to go to the DAO, because it can go to the ecosystem as a whole, and the DAO, as well as all of us, will be a massive beneficiary of it by driving the value and therefore the price of SPS up. So that's just my thoughts on it. I wanted to explain it hopefully with the white paper here so people can see just how much the DAO will be getting over that time frame. And obviously there will probably be other ways that we can get the DAO to earn. Pre-proposals are awesome right now. So if there are opportunities where we feel like the DAO needs some extra capital, even if it's a one-off thing, somebody can propose that, and it's just like, hey, let's create a card that will, people can buy, and all of that goes towards the DAO. And the crazy thing is we can even, if the team is strapped for resources, we could even commission somebody else, right, to make it, and then just have the team implement it, right? Something like that, right? I don't know. I'm just thinking super outside the box here. But the point is that as the game, and more importantly, the ecosystem grows over time, that value is going to be there. That revenue is going to be there for the DAO, at least for 65 months. And as long as we're giving value to that, right? Like if we drive SPS up to $10, right? And again, I know that's like insanity to think of, but if we drive SPS up to $10, that would be $3 billion that the DAO would have. You can't tell me that we wouldn't be able to do some awesome things with that. So at the end of the day, that's where my thoughts are with this. Just wanted to explain why I am in favor of burning, although I will accept whatever the proposal comes in as if people want that value to go to the DAO. But ultimately, we want to remove DEC from circulation in any way, shape, and possible. Well, not remove from circulation. We want to remove DEC. We want to burn DEC as much as possible, so that we need to burn more SPS in order to get that DEC that we need for future things. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.